So the status quo about life being worth living is injected into every new baby. So that's why humanity perpetuates its existence. Even if only a few individuals wake up to the truth about life, pretty much the rest of humanity will stay loyal to the idea that existence is always better than the non-existence. Even if you never got to live, then you would never be concerned about your existence and about your demise. You would never, love, but you would also never experience the pain of the breakup, and you would never have an orgasm, but you would also never have the annoying feeling of feeling horniness, horny, and you'd never visit Hawaii or something like that, but you would also not have to work for a year just to take 1 week off to go visit Hawaii. You'd never have seen the stars, but you would also not be depraved from not seeing the stars in the first place. You would never get to hear your favorite piece of music, but you'd also not be aware that such beautiful music could exist and satisfy our senses or whatever little depravities the music satisfies. So I mean, if you don't create deprivation, that there's no need to create deprivation in the first place if we could avoid it. And so, as an atheist, what can I be thankful for? Well, I don't think that's the right word to use, but I'm not gonna thank my parents for bringing me into this world for selfish reasons, obviously. But what I can consider is the fact that I can actually go, that I actually got to live a very decent life up to this point. And I can also consider that out of all the possible billions and trillions of people who never got to exist, I was the one who got to experience life, only for the reasons of understanding the fate of all living things that will ever live or have lived in the universe. And that fate is, at the very end, a total oblivion. Probably it will either be a heat death or the big rip, the fate of the universe. But either way, I think it's pretty cool that my permanent state of non-existence is going to be the same even when all the atoms in the universe fall apart. The cosmic footprint of every human being or animal that has ever existed is not going to be physically present in the universe, but in terms of life, this extreme rarity in the universe, existing and figuring out what the fuck was going on, in those terms, that will be something, and that's the best atheistic viewpoint that I can offer. So we will eventually get to the point where no suffering is endured. And as for the heat death of the universe, Isaac Asimov also wrote another wonderful 10-minute read, The Last Question, and I will post the link as well. It's where he tries to ask the question of whether it would be possible to reverse entropy in the universe and ensure the perpetual existence of humans. And the ending was interesting, but a bit weak in my opinion. And in this piece, the ultimate supercomputer built by humans in the 21st century was being upgraded by man up until the last stages of the universe. And that computer was considering a way to reverse entropy and make sure that life again would be possible in the universe. What's interesting to note is that Asimov he thought that this supercomputer would be the only God feasible, which is ironically still man-made. And I was thinking of giving away the ending, but I won't. I would advise you to read that piece. Now, we could ask why, just why, out of all the possible realities and universes, this is the one that we got stuck in. Well, some people will say that this is just one universe out of the infinite number of other universes. I think that's a crock of shit, personally. The universe is way too huge to not encompass everything there was, is, or ever will be. So this universe simply happens to be material, devoid of any ghosts, spirits, Santa Clauses, or gods.
You're wrong. You can't be.
No, it is.
Look at the man.
This is the trick. This is a performance. Right here. This is why no one can detect his method. Total devotion to his art. Utter self-sacrifice. You know? It's the only way to escape all this,
So anyway, I think it's sad that so many atheists who don't have a legal representation in a government aren't able to get their shit together because of numerous disagreements over bullshit. Some atheists will think that since God is dead, everything is permitted. Some will be butthurt because the evil government is spying on them, as if they're so damn important, so that they become anarchists. Well, there are other reasons as well. Some will be spiritual atheists, whatever the fuck that means. Some will want to perpetuate their genes into the future and abide by nature's standard of eating, shitting, fucking, and dying. And some will want to go into space and colonize Mars with the shitty destructive human psychology. Some will want to believe in UFOs or 9/11 conspiracy theories. Some will want to believe that something major is gonna happen in their lives, like 2012. There's just a string of bullshit that follows right after you cast aside the easily disprovable archaic gods. Some new bullshit just creeps in. So that's why I think it's important for atheists to scratch off whatever predispositions about life they might have and look at life from an entirely new perspective. That there's not just capitalism and communism. The nature isn't balanced, beautiful, or wise. That the implication of a shitty design and evolution imply that life objectively has more suffering in it than pleasure, as if superior amount of pleasure would counter the suffering in any way. They think that the individually we can each start with ourselves, and we can start reducing suffering by not eating meat, for instance, or by not being wasteful, by not causing more harm than good. Then you should know that it's the right thing to do, even if you're not going to be rewarded by the 72 virgins and having to wait in line for 3 million years just to speak with Jesus for a couple of seconds in heaven. I imagine it's a really long line in heaven to see Jesus. So let me give you 2 examples of what to endorse and what to not endorse.
I'm very impressed, Barbara, that you're here today.
Oh, thank you.
They've
Me
got
too.
9 kids.
9 kids?
I don't know
have
how you
9
make
kids?
it.
Yeah.
9 kids.
I know.
That's unbelievable.
What? That's 9. Jesus,
Yeah.
you're kidding. It's a little egotistical, though, isn't it?
No, it's really not up to us.
I have so many of you. You want to bring so much more of you into the world.
Get married, have a bunch of kids.
Okay.
So yeah, that's all. Grow a brain, people. But don't grow too much brain, because you might end up killing yourself.